Hey everybody, this is James. It's a good ride, and we're looking at the LibTech TRS Horsepower Limited Edition XC2 BTX. You can see up close, it's got the same kind of thing going as like all the horsepower models these days. They've got that kind of glittery thing. It's kind of, you would think you wouldn't like it, but you look up close and you're like, that's kind of cool. For some reason I like it, and I like the way it sparkles. But I haven't ridden this yet. This wasn't available at the demos. I'm hoping to get on this as soon as the conditions are good enough to allow me to ride this without damaging it. It's got the same camber profile, same design, same everything as the TRS, except for they use horsepower technology, which means it's a little lighter, little snappier. At least that's what I found when I rode other horsepower boards. They are always a little bit lighter. They're kind of like borderline between like light and like normal. They're just like, it's definitely got a lighter feel, and it's like, it does feel a little bit more like the base feels like it might be the top sheet, feels like it might be a little more fragile, but we'll see over time because I plan on riding this board a lot. Also, you can see one thing that's really interesting with XC2 BTX. I think there's only two models out this year. There's, from Mervin, there's the LibTech TRS, and then there's the GNU Danny Cass. And they both have pretty similar XC2 BTX, which is like a really short rocker and then a much longer camber. So what it does is it gives it a ride and a stable feel similar to a lot of hybrid camber boards that I rode that have camber in the middle or flat to rocker, where there's a lot more stability between the feet, and it tends to not to do this as much. It still can do it a little bit, on like really hard icy conditions, but it's better than I'd say it's probably better than every Mervin hybrid rocker board. And here I want to take another good ride favorite that we like and just kind of show you which this is more of a typical example of hybrid rocker. And you can see how the tip and tail are lifted up a lot more, and then take that off. Love this board, by the way, too. They're both great boards. They're just different. You can see this. There's almost nothing coming off. It just kind of almost comes back down to camber. It's kind of a perfect balance. In no way, shape, or form is this anywhere near C3 BTX. C3 BTX is basically just, camber at the tip and tail, going like this, that have a little bend to give you a little more added feel. But it's very much a camber board, even though it's technically a hybrid camber. It really has a camber feel and ride to it. It's much more aggressive. This is a lot less aggressive, and but it still allows you to be aggressive. You can ride this board where sometimes C3 BTX can end up riding you. So it's just kind of one of those differences. This is like, I think I'd like to see, we'll probably see in the coming years, almost every board in Mervin's line go to XC2 BTX and C3 BTX or whatever else they're creating there. And this is incredibly, like the regular TRS was an incredibly fun board. I actually asked for that, and instead they sent me this, which is even better because I didn't get to ride it and I need to review it. And I'd say, a lighter, snappier TRS, how can you go wrong? It's a great all-mountain freestyle board. The nose and tail are just slightly different in their rise. I don't know how to describe it, but it's definitely like a twin in the side cut and everything. It's just the tip and tail. The tail just is a little different. Looks like it's just a little shorter where the tip rises a little higher, which is a little better for directional powder riding. My thing is I'd love to see the TRS go from like an all-mountain freestyle board to an even more versatile all mountain board with a setback. But you know, that's just me. I think the average rider would like to set their board back in powder, where this has a centered stance, so it's very hard to get your board back. You could maybe set it back a little bit or not at all, depending on your stance width. But other than that, I mean, this is an amazing all mountain freestyle board. It has the flex and feel of a lot of all mountain boards. It just has that centered stance, and so that's kind of how we classify things. If it's an all mountain board, it usually has a setback stance. And if it's an all mountain freestyle board like this, it's more like a twin with a centered stance. But all in all, great board. One of our favorites almost every year. You really can't go wrong. Definitely XC2 BTX is better than the C2 Power BTX, in my opinion, and most of our riders' opinions. But they still make some great C2 Power BTX boards. I like this board, the 2014, over the 2013 TRS. They're both still great boards, but if you ask me, I'd spend a little extra money for this newer tech, or just wait it out till this newer tech goes on sale, if you can find your size. Hope that helps.